decision to go with our young guys, and you see him giving it up right here, making good plays.
Doncic, this time he gets it to go.
Reeves to Doncic. Spencer Jones on him. Here's the double. Doncic on the drive. Step back. Puts it up. Puts it in with 0.5 of a second remaining. Ball. Spencer Jones is in perfect position. Take it right there. And now you're down under 5 seconds on the next sideline out of bounds. Instead, not only don't they take the foul, he gets away from where the double team is coming. And now you've got single coverage going to the baseline where there is no help. And Luka gets to his patented step back. It's not an easy shot, but for Doncic, it's routine. And a tough shot in the clutch to put the Lakers up by 2. Now down the other end, screen. Jokic looking, finds Hardaway. Hardaway launches it up. And that's it. The Lakers survive in overtime. And a thriller against the Nuggets, and they win the tiebreaker against Denver. He'll try it again. Curry continues, as I mentioned, his cold shooting. He is overstepping. Throw it down, LeBron! Throw it down!
Well, that could have been an and one. Maybe it should have been an and one.
Nice pass rather by Shepard.
Doncic up to 14 in this opening quarter. Again against his former teammate Finney Smith. He goes right to the rack and floats it home. 17.8 second chance points per game for the Rockets this year. Add 2 more to that tally. Same for Luka Doncic. He is too tough to handle off the bounce. Going to work on Smart. Shimmy shake. And Capella right through his hands. Numbers the other way with Doncic and James. Doncic got fouled and put it home. Shepard just didn't have enough muscle.
Doncic, who we understood was going to take that strong to the basket. It could have come right back to James, but Doncic concentrating, has a
this routine
on a regular basis. Yeah.
80-78. Doncic looking to get away. Step back 3. Oh, that's absurd from Luka Doncic.
3-pointer on its way. Rebound Braun. He's got a little bit of momentum. That'll give it now to Reeves. Finished by LeBron.
Well, how controlled that semi-break was. LeBron has it, throws it to Austin. He really didn't even put on the afterburner and gets it back.
Yeah, Billy, so we were just saying on the air, Mark, he's held him to 12 points in the fourth quarter, 35 in the second half, a bunch of steals, a bunch of turnovers for us. How did you guys get it done on defense?
We just stay with it. You know, we played against a really good team with some really good players, one in particular, and, you know, it took a full team effort. They got going. And we just stay with it, trusting each other, and continue to help.
You know better than most how Kevin Durant can score the basketball. Up until that layup, he hadn't scored in the second half. A lot of blitzing, a lot of help. What was the game plan to try and force it out of his hands?
Exactly that, force it out of his hands. You know, he's really good, and he's so good at making plays for himself and shooting right over top of guys and getting to his spot. So we want to make it as tough as possible, but when we could, get the ball out of his hands.
Couple of big buckets late from DeAndre Ayton. What did you think of his game, or just that final stretch helping you guys get over the top?
It was great for us. You know, he wasn't in there in certain times, but he stayed with it. He stayed poised, and when his number got called, he came and gave us what we needed.
And, I mean, look, you've become accustomed to this now, but another big scoring game from Luka, 36 more points. How did his steadiness scoring kind of keep you guys afloat while it was a defensive struggle?
Luka do what he does, man. Yes, sir. Doing what he does, what he gets paid to do. And, you know, when he's on like that, you know, everybody else around him, we stay calm and we understand that he's going to lead us and we're going to follow.
Last one for you. It's one of those odd series where you stay here for a day, almost like a playoff series, right? A game in between. How do you come back against a team that's going to be hungrier on Wednesday?
Same thing. We got to be just as hungry. You know, this is a team we're fighting and they're fighting, and we got to come out with the dog mentality and don't let it happen. What they're going to come out and do and try to bring that fire. We got to be the ones that punch first.
Thank you, Marcus.
The Lakers with a huge win in Houston, putting them at 3rd in the West. They've now won 6 in a row, 9 out of 10. In the last 8 days, they beat the Knicks, the T-Wolves, the Nuggets, and now the Rockets. A late 15-2 run to win it. But I got to start with the defense. Big game, James. They held Kevin Durant scoreless until the final 30 seconds of the second half. He only had 2 points in the second half. They forced 24 Rocket turnovers with that trap that the Houston Rockets could not solve. 92 total points for Houston. Yeah. That is a gutsy I don't care if it's ugly. It is a big win.
Lakers had 14 steals too, so they were active tonight. I think the defensive strategy worked to kind of get the ball out of Durant's hand and force it into someone else's hands down the stretch in the fourth quarter. I think that was the key, and then they were able to rebound the basketball. For a while, Houston was getting just about second opportunities every shot they had. In the third quarter, it was just demoralizing. But I think once they solved that and put pressure on other players to perform, I think that was the key. Durant wasn't the savior, and no one else could knock it down because of that tenacious defense, causing turnovers. They got quite a few steals for easy buckets. So, yeah, defense wins.
Yeah, I mean, Houston just looked out of sorts all around. This is kind of, I guess, what you see when you're missing a point guard and your other point center in Sengun. But on both sides, it was ugly. Offensively, there was a lot of missed shots, and not a lot of some good ball movement, some good looks. Just couldn't find the rim. There was a lid on both sides. Turnovers on Houston's side. Lakers did a great job of trapping. Sometimes a little too passive in their traps, but they forced KD to make some decisions. He turned it over a couple times, and they just stuck with it. This was a game of wills. Who was going to do the dirty work? And it ended up being the Lakers and DeAndre Ayton. Getting some offensive rebounds, getting in the paint. Because, when the game gets ugly like that, a lot of teams like to settle and shoot a bunch of threes. The Lakers didn't do that. So they ran the floor. They got some inside paint points with Ayton, and then Smart hit a knockdown three for them. But, yeah, this was a gutsy win. They just showed more maturity than Houston. Houston looks like they have a long way to go.
JJ, you kind of hinted at this pregame. It might be a little bit of a slugfest. How did you feel like you were able to prevail ultimately in that?
They're a really good basketball team, and they make you either play hard and match their physicality and how they muck the game up, or you can lay down. And we didn't lay down tonight. We had a deficit there in the third quarter. Our guys just kept playing. I thought defensively in the second half, with some of the adjustments we made at halftime, we just executed really, really well, particularly with, just trying to get the ball out of Durant's hands. Forced 9 turnovers in the fourth quarter doing that, and just a terrific defensive second half for us. There's not, when they're playing that 5-man lineup, minus Shepherd, there's and no big. It's hard to. They got 5 really good defenders out there. It's really hard to generate good offense. I thought we made the right play consistently. Didn't shoot it well. Had a stretch there where we had some wide open threes with some bad misses. But that's, it carry over from this morning, carry over from pregame. We got to have a playoff mentality this time of year, and I thought our guys did that, and they executed it really well.
I think it was 15 second-half turnovers. You mentioned the adjustment. Was it blitzing more on Durant, and what's kind of the key to that and behind it to making sure that?
No, we took off. We blitzed them a little bit in the first half. We took off the blitz at halftime. We just went to our 15, and we went to 1 through 5 red, and then we fired them. So they did a good job of rotating out of that. Consistently. Whether we didn't really fire a lot last year, and we did it in Game 5 against Minnesota. We gave up a ton of offensive rebounds because of that. That's the worry when you play zone. That's the worry when you put 2 on the ball and you're in scramble mode. It's a little bit harder to rebound some of those misses. But we stuck with it.
You guys have 2, generally speaking, big time advantages night in, night out offensively. You have Luka and his shot making, but you also have LeBron in transition on a night when
They are too.
Well, not tonight.
Yeah. Not from 3.
But on the nights when you did the other stuff isn't going, just that reliability in those 2 things, how do they carry you guys?
Look, the very first thing that we did in training camp both years, and we put way more emphasis on it this year. But the very first thing we did in training camp was establish our running patterns, and talking about ending every possession with a contest, and then here's your running patterns. LeBron does such a good job of filling the middle of the floor. We emphasize running to the corners. We emphasize our throw-aheads. We've been really good in transition. I know we're not a high-volume transition team, but we've been really good in transition when we've thrown the ball ahead, and the numbers back that up. The winning backs it up, and LeBron in particular. It's one of the things we talked about last week is just continue to be the best transition player in the NBA, and it's such a dynamic force for our offense.
Little shot Austin, but he was on Durant to start possessions.
Yeah.
He had that inbounds steal where you just kind of
4 of them.
Yeah.
And a block shot.
Yeah. Just kind of
5 assists. Like, he's a basketball player, and again, for the second straight game, going against a tier 1 all-time player as the primary and getting switched on to guys and just battling and making it tough. Competitive will, and I think LeBron too. I mean, I told him mid-game, and I don't even know. He ended up taking 13 shots. I think he probably had 7 at the time. It was sometime in the second half, but I said, I see you. I see you. You're playing hard and that matters. Like you're lifting our team up because of how hard you're playing. Whether that's trying to take a charge, coming back and back tapping things, his physicality defensively, being in rotations, like all the stuff. And the offense came for him. It came for him.
Go
ahead, Dan.
Thanks. Go ahead, Dan.
I'll take all the questions.
DeAndre wasn't really a factor, and then they had that flurry of rebounds. We went back to him late. What is his response? Show you? What did you make of it? What did you tell him after the game?
We had a decision to make about who the 5th guy was going to be in that timeout, and we all recognized that he had not played in a significant portion of the game, and then you factor in the real-time effect of that. And I was pretty adamant that I wanted him in the game. We went, Greg went over to him and made sure that he was ready to go. He was ready to go, and then he helped us win the game, and that's what I told him. We walked off the court together, and he was in good spirits, but he did. His offensive rebounding and the couple of buckets he got there down the stretch were huge.
Coming off a kind of physically, emotionally demanding game like Denver, you knew this was going to be a grind against the way Houston plays. How were you guys able to generate the defense, the energy that you needed in the second half?
Like I said before, listen, you can't harp on the game previously too long because it's another game coming up, and like I always talk about the Wild Wild West, it's another tough opponent. So, excuse me, we understand what Houston brings to the table: physicality, athleticism, everything. And we just have to match that. And obviously, they beat us up on the glass. A lot of we didn't defensive rebound and clean glass like we can, but we just stuck with the game plan. Held them to like 37 in the second half or something like that, and 35 in the second half. And that's the ingredients for winning. We buckled down on the defensive end.
You know better than anybody what Durant can do with a basketball. What was the kind of key to get it out of his hands and to create all the turnovers that happen out of that?
Try to show him different looks throughout the game. I mean, he's one of the greatest players we've ever seen play. Obviously, so just got to try to show him different looks, try to keep him off balance, and when he shoots, hope he miss. He don't miss many shots. I thought we did a good job of having a game plan, but also just switching up our pitches. You can't show a great like that too many of the same coverages throughout the whole game. He'll get a feel for it. So did a good job of just kind of switching up the pitches.
How would you evaluate this team's commitment to the defensive end of the floor now compared to earlier in the season?
Not comparing nothing early in the season, just talking about the present. So I continue to talk about what we are now. We just try to stay locked in on what needs to be done today, and we did that. So we got better today, and we got an opportunity to look over to some of the things we could have did better tomorrow, and then hopefully get better again on Wednesday.
What does it say about this team in the fourth quarter? You guys were like 1 for 14, 1 for 15 from the field, but you guys kept playing defense, didn't give into anything. What does it say about what you guys are doing on defense?
It's kind of like playoff basketball. It's going to happen, so 2 playoff teams, just figuring out how to get a bucket, but also trying to stay focused and locked in on both sides of the floor. That's sometimes how playoff basketball is. You can't just rely on the offensive end. You got to be able to buckle down and get stops.
Take care of the ball. Go ahead, Ben.
You guys were able to take care of the ball pretty well. You guys had 1 turnover in the fourth quarter, and it was the shot clock violation there at the very end. What were you guys doing well, even if you weren't scoring, but not to make those mental mistakes?
Shots up at the goal. I said we didn't let them speed us up. They're very physical. Like I said, they're very athletic, and they can speed you up at times. So, sorry, we did a great job of not allowing them to speed us up, and we got shots up at the goal.
What do you think of the way that Ayton finished the game?
It was amazing. I mean, just the fact that he was sitting over there for as long as he did and stayed locked in on the game and come in and finish the game. Able to get a tip dunk, a couple jump hooks around the rim. A couple rebounds. He helped us finish the game.
LeBron, to be physically here in year 23, able to have those splash plays, the one over Jabari Smith Jr. in the first half, the lob from Austin in the second, just, I don't know, it's not surprised that you're able to still do it, but
It kind of is.
Is it for you?
Yeah, it kind of is at times.
Either of those surprised?
I don't know if any of those surprised me. I mean, the one in the first half, I seen him tracking me, so he's a pretty good shot blocker, so I had to throw that down. The lob from AR, I told him to throw it, so I had to go get it. But there's some plays I still do at this point in my career where it definitely surprised me for sure.
Last 2. How did you come out of the game on Sunday? The dive, all that stuff. We saw the super gross thing.
Yeah. I didn't even show you the one on my hip, by the way. Yeah, I wasn't gonna post that. That's too much. I was pretty banged up on the flight. Obviously, we had to get on the plane the next day, so I was pretty banged up on the flight coming here, and pretty banged up, last night. But got about 9.5 hours of sleep last night, and woke up, and I felt a lot better. I was able to get some rehab and treatment and activation going today, so it allowed me to play tonight. But definitely was around the clock with it.
Kevin, last question. Kevin said the other day that the Miami version of you was the hardest player he ever had to guard. Are any versions of Kevin, would you say, the hardest player that you've had to guard?
I mean, every version. I mean, he continues to just get better and better and better. I mean, obviously him in Golden State was super dynamic because you just couldn't put multiple bodies in front of him because of the threat of Clay and Steph at all time. So that was super dynamic, and also his time in Brooklyn too. When obviously a little bit of the smaller sample, but when Kyrie and James was out there, you couldn't put multiple bodies. Anytime you can't put multiple bodies in front of a great like that has that ability to score the ball is very, very challenging. And also we had our battles in the finals too. I mean, obviously, listen, even when he was young, and him and Russ and James, he's never not been great at basketball. So every version.
Want to get to the defense in a second, but in a game like this, just kind of a slugfest, what does it say about Luka that he's still able to have an efficient, 30-plus point night like that and still find ways to score against a swarming D like that?
He's a good player. That's all you can say. Good player.
Okay, I'm going to follow up on that though a little bit. Like, what does he do? So is it the talent, the skill, the size, all of it?
Yeah, everything. He's been, one of the best players in the league for a long time. So, I think he's 6'8", strong, has a high release, but he puts all that together and he's a solid basketball player.
The shots weren't falling. Certainly, I know you'll include yourself in that, but you have 4 steals. That's part of the key to the turnovers, and I think 22 forced on them, 12 points in the fourth. What was just the defensive effort required for that, and how did you guys get that done?
Yeah, that was it. That's what it was. That's he gets all the credit. So, I just thought we guarded with 5 guys. Rotations were sharp tonight. Katie's one of the best scorers to ever play the game, and going into the game, you know that, and you're going to have to throw different coverages at him, but you have to be able to, change things on the fly and be able to know rotations, all stuff like that. So it was a good team defensive night. No other questions? Hell yeah.
I'll ask you one more. Sorry. Play the same team again, right? So they lost this game. I'm sure they'll double down. You get a day to rest and kind of find your legs and everything. But what is it? Similar requirements of what you're going to need to win again, or more?
Yeah, I mean their identity's not going to change. Obviously, the X's and O's, they might tweak some things here and there, but they're still going to play the way that they played every single game, and that's as hard as they possibly can. They're going to look to get offensive rebounds, create extra possessions, swarm the ball. Hopefully, I make some shots next game, but we shoot it good as a team, and so we'll make our adjustments to whatever their adjustments are, and we'll be another good one.
Austin, does it say anything about the team that you guys can be beat on the boards by 10 today? Assist totals aren't what they have been the last few games, and you can still kind of muscle out a victory like this?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have to win games like that. It's not always going to be pretty. You wish it was. That's their identity. They're going to play like that every single night, and they're going to cause some of the issues that we had. But obviously, we can watch that and clean that up. But just to get a win like that, it is nice because, like I said, we didn't have our best stuff, but being able to scrap and claw the win out of that is really good.
All right, let's go to a little Access 360, Danny, that third quarter. So the Lakers find themselves down 10. They rally. Yeah. They go on a 23-7 run. What'd you see?
Yeah, they caused a little havoc, made some turnovers happen, got out and running, started with some defense and some offense. But, just making the right reads. Right here, DeAndre Ayton sets a really good screen for Austin Reeves. Miscommunication on the defensive end, Houston, not talking. He sees that, gets downhill to an easy right-handed layup. And that's kind of where it started for them. DeAndre Ayton right here is trying to slide his feet. Reed Shepard sees he has a mismatch, tries to get him left to right crossover. Marcus Smart sniffs it out, sees him coming downhill. Reed Shepard's got an easy dunk early in the game with this. Puts his body in the line, takes a charge. These small little plays, they matter a lot. Right here, getting some rebounds, boxing out a little bit. You see Amin Thompson's a man behind. Get out and running. I know we're not a transition team, but we got to run some, get us some easy baskets. Get some swing. He's a second behind. Luka Doncic attacks. Find Rui for a tight little mid-range free throw line jumper. Easy. Right here, this is where it kind of started for us, the turnovers. They started trapping KD from different angles. Bron gets a steal. The reason why he leads the NBA in transition points because he's best in the business. Also getting out and running, but also getting steals, creating turnovers, and getting to the basket. So he didn't get a layup there, but he got 2 free throws, and those little things kind of turned the game around for them. And that was obviously starting little by little, and then trapping guys like Kevin Durant, getting the ball out of his hands. When he's watching you, when he's not watching you, from weak side, when he turns his back, like Bron said, you got to switch your pitches up. You can't give anybody a steady diet because they'll figure it out.